Welcome to Courtside Moms. I'm your host, Wendy Sparks. Today's episode is part 2 of my interview with Iris James, who is the mother of Evan Turner, who is currently signed with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Sit back and enjoy the conclusion of their story.
I do it naturally. I do it naturally, baby.
Well, Evan describes basketball as his way of coping with many challenges that were thrown his way. So by his junior year at Ohio State, he won every National Player of the Year award, and that's when the NBA came. So tell us how that felt for you to see your son thrive after all these struggles.
I didn't realize that Evan had an opportunity to go to the NBA until he actually reached college his freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's because I never let it in or whatever, but that was the first time I realized that he may have a shot. It was a fleeting moment that he could actually go, his dream could actually come true. But I wanted to make sure, look, you're in college, let's get this education.
Yeah.
Let's get this education. So once he got through breaking his back and fracturing it, and to win the awards, one right after the other, I was overjoyed. And I was shocked, actually, because the recognition at that level was overwhelming for me. We were in Indianapolis, and I'm an Evan Turner fan, but to be a fan, I don't really know what that's like.
Yeah.
Actually see other people just swarming. And so he would say, Mom, I don't want to come out. I said, well, your friend is here your grade school friend is here. Gustafson is here, and so he said, well, okay, I'm going to come up. So he comes up out of the tunnel, and it was like bee to honey. People just swarmed him. I was like, what is going on? What is going on? So, security had to come and get him and stuff. It was just too eye-opening. I mean, I was just in amazement for that. But to see his dream of just actually come to fruition of getting those accolades, I don't know if he was working for it, but his hard work paid off to get that. He got every award but the Dave Cosby Award. And
wow.
We traveled, to Indianapolis. I traveled to California. And unbeknownst to me, while it's happening to my son and my family, it's happening to the college as well. So they were very instrumental in making sure, I had everything to make sure I could get there because it was still a struggle for us. So that was a blessing. But he was overjoyed and going through the motions of what might be.
I just want to go back real quick when he suffered his second fractured vertebrae in his back prior to the draft. I mean, did this occur at a game, and were you there?
Oh, my goodness. That game, yes, I was there. However, my intentions was not to go. I was in Chicago, and I was like, oh, the weather's bad, and I'm tired, and if it wasn't for his AAU coach, who actually initially approached me, as I told you earlier, he said, "I'm getting ready to go to the game. You want to ride?" And I was like, "Well, you're gonna drive, then I guess I'll go." And so we were just going to do a turnaround trip, and I was there that night. I was just crazy because I saw it was like I was watching it in slow motion, and I heard my son utter and wince in pain, and I knew he was hurt. I was like, oh my God, he is hurt. So I was running down the steps and saying, I got to get to him. So I was going to jump over the banister, and I looked at it, I said, Iris, I don't think you better do that because then they might call an ambulance for you too. So, and his dad said, Oh, he just hurt his butt. I said, "What? Don't talk to me about that. Let me go see about my baby." So I'm running up the steps. I was like, "Where's the gym? Where's the place where my baby is? Where is he? Where is he?" And I couldn't get to him. So the coach's wife came out and said, "Iris is going to be all right." And the next thing I can hear him saying, "Where's my mom? Where's my mom? Is she okay? Is she hysterical?" And I was like, "Why is he saying that? He's the one always getting hurt. Why am I hysterical? I've been taking care of you since she was a baby."
He's
And
used to it.
so they did something, and he winced in some pain, and I just really lost it. And the coach's wife, Barbara, who we're still very good friends with, "He's gonna be all right, Iris. He's gonna be all right." I said, "I don't know. I need to go see my baby. Y'all need to open up this door so I can get to him." So it was very traumatic for me because what I didn't understand when you have a player at any level, at that college level, with that status, how much notoriety you get and how much the media is on it. It's like that's breaking news.
It is.
And I was so frustrated because they kept playing that over and over, and we're in the hospital, and I don't know anything about what's going on with my son. That was so distraughful. You can't imagine. I was like, how come they can't turn? Why is this on it? He's not the president.
Yeah.
I was like, not the president. Stop.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, and then of course the calls came in. I didn't even have my phone because I was like, "Here, Darius, just take the phone. You handle it. I can't handle it right now." So it was very, very hard. And but when we found out that he broke it in two spots, I think it's two or three spots, and where the fracture was, it was going to take time to heal, and it wasn't more serious than we had originally thought. Was a blessing. However, men do not know how to be patient. Okay, I'm just telling you, they just don't. They suck. They just want. "I'm going to be fine, Mom. I'm going to be fine." No, you're not. I'm just telling you. You can go home. I am not going anywhere. So he's on this morphine, and he's telling one of his college friends, "I'll be back in 4 weeks." Now they said 8 weeks. "I'll be back in 4 weeks. I'll be back in 4 weeks." I said, "This boy has lost his mind."
But he was back in a month.
He willed himself back. I'm telling you, he willed himself back because they called me. I was in Chicago. They called me, "Well, Evan's gonna play on Wednesday." I said, "Evan's gonna do what?" They said, "He's playing on Wednesday." I said, "No, he's not. He better not get on no court till I get there."
Good for
Oh
you.
no, no, I will be there. So of course the media comes and says, "Evan Turner's mom's not going to let him."
Yeah, I read that too, by the way. I sure did.
I was like, "What you mean?" I said, "What?" And so everybody said, "Well, I'm her baby. I'm her mom. I'm her baby." And so he calls him, "Mom, why are you coming down here?" I said, "What you mean? Why am I coming down there? Boy, you coming to see if I'm okay?" "Yes, I'm coming because somebody got to have reasoning down here. Because right now, they're not gonna tell me at the last minute you getting ready to play." Oh, it was terrible.
It is terrible because these schools, they just want to win. At the end of the day, it's just about the win, and for the players too. They can't imagine themselves off the court. They want to be part of that win, not realizing the damage you could put on your body then or in the future, right? No one thinks of what can happen down the road. They're just thinking, well, the game's today, so I'm good, and I'm going to take that pain today. And sometimes it's just like, yeah, you have to wait. And sometimes as a parent, you have to make that decision. And you might be the hated one, but I'd rather be the hated mom and you got a good back than be the mom that allowed you to play and you got no back, right? And you're sitting there in a wheelchair.
Absolutely, because I did tell them, the trainer and the coach and stuff, I was like, "Look, I know y'all need him. And I know he wants to play, but somebody has to be the voice of reason." I said, "He only has one back." I said, "And while I know you believe he can play," I said, "he still needs time to condition himself." I mean, you're telling me he's going from therapy onto the court. Oh no, So I told my son, I was my other son, I said, you got to come with me because I need the support because everybody's gonna want him to get on the court,
Right.
and
Yeah.
and I know better.
Yeah.
And so we go out here before the game, and Evan is out there, and I'm just telling you, it was absolutely miraculous to see him on that court and have no fear and jump and shoot a 3-pointer on the thing. And Darius says, "Mom, you see, he's okay, right?" I had to acquiesce and say, "Okay," but I know in my heart and in my mind that he did not need to go on that court, but he wanted to go, and the mothers always know best. I'm
Hmm.
just gonna tell you, mamas always know best.
They do. We
And
do.
so he goes out there, he plays, and my baby falls on his back. And you know who was looking at me? And I was looking at him? That coach.
Yeah.
And guess what? Evan did not, he pulled him out and he did not go back out there.
Mm.
Because I know best. I know best. So anyway, that allowed him a couple more opportunities to get stronger and stuff like that. So, and he did play, but and we played Indiana. Oh God, what a rivalry! So I was on the Big Ten Network, and they was like, "What is it like?" I was like, "I really didn't want him to play, So, but this is what he wanted to do, and he's playing well, and I'm happy for him. So that's how that came out.
Well, for Evan, I mean, I can imagine why he wanted to play. I mean, at the end of the day, this ended up being the year where he decided to forego his last year of eligibility and enter the draft. So it's understandable that he was like, I got to do this. I got to push forward. I got to do this because his vision was probably, I want to be in the league now. I mean, he'd strike when the iron's hot, right? And our boys don't think of their bodies. They just think of what's to come.
Well,
So,
he probably actually he was thinking more at that time. The
mhm.
team needs me, they need me. The team needs me,
Yes.
and to get through, for them to win that championship and all the rest of that good godly
Hmm.
stuff. However, when he actually had to make that decision, it was a very difficult decision for him to make because I don't
Hmm.
think he really wanted to leave. I think he really wanted to stay, and he thought that they would have a championship, and if he stayed another year, and he made the decision, and it was heartfelt. I mean, he had tears in his eyes actually when he made that decision.
So why did he
But
have
I
to
think
make that decision?
he broke his back. I was like, boy, you have broken your back, and I think his mentors at the time um, helped him decide that timing is everything. And I think what happens is that when you have won all the accolades of the year,
Mhm.
and that championship is dangling, but it's not a guarantee. So that guarantee versus something that is a guarantee helped him decide whether or not that was the best thing for him to do.
Right. So let's go to draft night. I mean, I know you guys went through the process of getting an agent, and you hired David Falk, who happens to be at the time Michael Jordan's agent. So let's talk about the process that you as a family with David. How did you get you guys to draft night? Like, what was that process?
God, this is not a topic I really want to talk about, but I will do it for other mothers that are out there.
Okay.
So as we just said, mothers know best.
Mm-hmm.
And as you have a young man who's entering or embarking on an opportunity of a lifetime, they still seek your advice, whether willingly or reluctantly, they still do. However,
Right.
just like we went through the process of the 25 Division I scholarships that he got going into college, you can imagine we had financial people, we had agents, doing all this stuff. And we're trying to still work within the rules of the NCAA. People are passing you cards and all that kind of stuff. It's just a process that people,
Yeah.
that people go through. So Evan introduced us. And matter of fact, a family friend of ours reached out to this gentleman, David Falk. And I really truly believe Evan was enamored with the fact that Michael Jordan's agent wants him.
Right.
He wants to represent him when Michael Jordan was his idol as a child, and I believe he made that decision based on that.
Right.
I went along with it. However, I didn't think it was the best thing for him. But it ultimately was his decision, and David Falk represented him up until 3 or 4 years. So David Falk is a great guy. He loves to tell stories. But in doing my research, I just believe sometimes you have to put people and be a right fit. I just really didn't think they were a right fit. I think some people, just like St. Joe's was a right fit for Evan at high school. And while I didn't want the Ohio State, it wound up being the right fit. So, and things happen, and this is where we go. So he was able to go to the Rising Star, and he was able to get a shoe contract with Lee Ning, and he was able to do 3 years at Philadelphia.
Right.
76ers. So.
Well, before that, when you're at draft night, what was going through your mind when you heard the commissioner say the Philadelphia 76ers choose Evan Turner? What was the first thing you did after they called his name?
Oh, I hugged my baby. And I hugged him because his dream had actually come true.
Yeah.
And I was elated for him. His great grandmother was there, who was actually 90 something at the time for him. It was the hottest day you can't even imagine. And his great grandmother was sitting there with him to see her great grandson become a professional basketball player for the 76ers. I was overjoyed that he was selected to be number 2. And we were prepared. His agent David Falk did prepare us. So we weren't one of those families where they didn't get picked. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of negotiations going on. You don't know that until hindsight. Unless your agent doesn't prepare you. But they were pretty well. We were pretty well sure that he was going to go number 2. And but to actually hear his name and actually see him go up there, and I'm not a sports person, so I'm really not. I supported my children in what they wanted to do, but I am not a sports person, at all. So technically, I was going through the motions, but I was actually ecstatic that my son had reached the epitome of his success by going to the NBA as the number 2 pick in the country.
Were you ready for that change in your life?
It really wasn't much of a change other than I go to more games than I did in college. But to see him, I remember the first time I saw him on the college on the court for his first college game. I didn't even recognize him. And then to go to 76ers for his first game was his birthday, and
That's right.
that kind of personalized and brought it down from the big picture down to who he really was and why we honored him. But for him, that extra piece was just that he was out there on the field, and not on the field, on the court, and we were able to experience that arena. So we were received very well, stuff we just, I don't think I've ever imagined having that much attention, not just for him, but for us as a family,
The family,
you
yeah.
know. So we were just going through the motions and people were waving and, I don't like all that kind of attention, I don't think. So, hi, how you doing? That kind of stuff.
But that's it, eh? Yeah.
Yeah, you just you roll with the flow. But I was more happy for him
Right.
that from a little boy, from when we could understand 3 years old, to say I'm going to be Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan, and I'm going to be a millionaire. And guess what? The
It's true.
dream
It's true.
is
Yeah.
real. It came true. That
You know,
was that was what was most important to me.
that attending that first NBA game must have been like so overwhelming because you're watching him transition from playing like middle school to high school to college, and now like as a professional. I mean, you went from a tiny gym to a huge arena, from hundreds to thousands of screaming fans, and some of them are screaming for your child. Like,
Yes. Those fans, I tell you, those were the hardest fans, I tell you, because
mhm,
Philadelphia is very difficult. But initially, to see it on that magnitude, it was disbelief, really, because I never thought that I would be in a stadium like that. Never
right.
thought I would be watching basketball live and my son would be on the court. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
not
saying?
the same. Not the same,
So
eh?
yeah, yeah. So it was definitely an eye opener for us.
Yeah, it's different when you're in your living room and your child is sitting in front of the TV watching his favorite players play NBA games, and you're walking
Oh my
by to a couple of
goodness.
years, you're like, wait a minute, I'm actually sitting in the crowd here. I'm
And no, actually, yeah, I'm sitting and actually Evan was a young boy. He must have been maybe in sixth or seventh grade, and he met Shaq as a young boy.
okay.
And he was actually able to meet him, and I don't know if he played with him, but
Mhm.
for that to come full circle, wow, Shaq is a nice guy and all this. I said, oh, okay. We actually have a picture with both the boys with Shaq. He came to
Oh,
Chicago and did an actual event and stuff like that. And then to be in that arena and actually meet him and talk to him and be a part of that is just so surreal. I'm just,
of of
really.
course. So, like you said, he debuted his first game with the 76ers on his 22nd birthday. I mean, what a gift, right?
Yes.
And he had a great game as well. And he must have been on an emotional high. It's my birthday, it's the beginning, and moving forward, his talents helped the team make the playoffs that year. Where now he's playing against in the playoffs seasoned players against the Miami Heat, against LeBron and Dwayne Wade.
Oof,
So your
yes.
son is now playing against these two, like I said, seasoned players. What was it like for you to see your rookie baby prove his talent against these two players?
Scared. I was absolutely scared because I did not understand why y'all taking this rookie and putting my baby up on LeBron. Why? Why do you want to do that? He's not. I was like, they're gonna crush my baby. They're gonna crush my baby. And throughout his career, that has been he's always played against the elite players,
Right.
and it's a blessing for him because it's a learning curve and an honor, but a true testament to his talent as well.
Right.
Coaches
That's
have
right.
enough confidence to put you with. I didn't look at it like that because I'm like, he's just a baby. Y'all
Yes.
gonna hurt my baby. But
And yet he held his own, right? He's like, baby, nothing. I'm
I
Evan Turner and I'm
know.
showing out. And good for him. And that's exactly
I,
what he did.
yeah, so yeah, I didn't see it like that. But yes, for him, yes.
Look, they lost
I am
that game,
still
but you know
mom.
what? Evan did very well. So
I know because my sons were mom. He played well. He played well. It took me a very long time to understand, and one and two, two, three, two, and all this kind of stuff, all this terminology, because I'm not a sports person.
right.
But I finally learned some of the stuff.
Well, listen, it's trial and error, Iris. You only learn once you're in the mix. So
Yes.
this actually brings me to the his first Rising Stars game, or the Rising Star game, I should say, at the NBA All-Star weekend. I mean, that is like fantastic. Were you able to attend that game?
Uh-huh.
Or the All-Star weekend?
Yeah, and we were in Orlando, Florida.
Yes. Yeah.
To attend one of those events, I'm just telling you, it must be like going to the Oscars or something. All this security, all this red carpet, all these what do you call them? Wands and stuff, just to make sure we're safe, and the player is safe.
That's right.
So that was something different. But to actually see him finally get acknowledged and go to one of those events was really good. I was sitting next to my son, and I didn't understand. I thought we was going to see a game.
Oh, no.
This was showboating, okay?
Yeah, the whole weekend.
Yeah. He was like, Mom. I said, Darius, I thought we was going to see a game. He was like, Mom. I said, they just running up and down the court. This is what I told him. This is street ball. But he shone, he had a smile on his face, and he shined, and he played well. He did some alley oops, and so you come to find out that's what this portion of the process is for. Right. So, and I had to learn that. I was a slow student, but I learned.
Well, NBA All-Star Weekend is awesome, and such a time to meet and greet with so many families of many players. So as a new NBA mom, what relationships were you then starting to build?
With the 76ers, fortunately, I was able to meet a couple of moms who had vibrant personalities and were very embracive of a new rookie mom. And you want that when you come into the arena, because you can be overwhelmed and isolated and not feel like you're a part of anything, depending on what kind of team you go to. So fortunately, the 76ers were a great team to start us out with. And the relationships that you build with certain individuals are the same as you do with any other arena you come in, but you get to cherish those because those moms are few and far between to be in an arena like this. This is like a fraternity, you know what I mean, or a sorority, because while our sons are here, and while people don't know that we've struggled to get them there, we know what it took, and only we know what sacrifices we had to make to see our son's success.
Yes. I don't think people understand the toll it takes on their body. I mean, here they're playing NCAA ball, and they're playing 40 games. Then they play in the NBA, and they're playing 82 games. And I don't think people understand this is totally different now. You've got injuries that can come into play because their bodies are working twice as hard. There's more travel. There's more getting off the plane, and the plane, in the hotel, off, you know what I mean, out the hotel, on the bus, off the bus, and it's so grueling. And I don't think people understand that. So like you're saying, it's so surreal because people just want to see these $1 million players playing. They don't care about everything else.
Yeah, that experience, people don't have a clue what it is to become a professional athlete, and each athlete approaches it differently, and that's based on their experiences and their backgrounds and stuff. So people don't understand, except for my very close friends who really don't understand, that I cried for 3 years. People don't. It's a blessing and a curse to a certain extent, because you have to watch your child become a man before his time in an arena that he knows nothing about. You have to watch him emotionally. You have to watch him athletically, physically. You have to watch him deal with the media. You have to watch him deal with the fans. Those are a lot of small, intricate details that people don't understand, that you as a parent have to help your child get through or recognize, because some of them think they can do it on their own and don't address it. So it was very difficult for me for the first year, because, and it's difficult as a parent, I think, as well, because you raised your child and you think you can do things and continue as they have been, and they don't. That reality for a mother, as we talked about earlier, becoming their advisor, not their manager, it's a hard reality. It is a very difficult reality for some of us to take on.
Right.
And some of us never get over it. But once I realized, I can't manage them anymore, I have to advise them. And so I said, okay, all I can do as a responsible parent is, my job is to tell you. What you do with the information is up to you, because you're grown now.
Right.
And so, yes.
Well, through his 10 years in the NBA, I mean, he played with the 76ers, with the Celtics, the Pacers, the Trailblazers, Atlanta. Through these years, I mean, like you said, things change, right? And you go through the injuries, you go through playing, you go through not playing, and there's so much politics. But with the politics, there comes the critics. So we all must admit that the dream of being a professional basketball player can be great, as it comes with many perks in life, financially. It changes someone's position. However, on the flip side, it comes with a lot of pressure and expectation. Players are expected to play according to their salary. So when it comes to Evan, unfortunately, it's been said that he's underperformed his contract now. So as his mother, how do you struggle mentally and physically? Like, how do you cope with these critics?
Well, one thing I do, which Evan always told me, Mom, stop reading that stuff. Okay, well, first of all, I can't stop reading because I need to know what's going on. First of all, I need to know what these other people are saying. But more importantly, they are on the outside looking in.
Right.
They don't have a clue about what really is going on, or what is really being told to these athletes about how they are to perform on the court. And no one is perfect. Everybody, and you know this, coaches are crazy. I'm just telling you, they get in their world and they do whatever it is they do. But as you said, there's politics. So unless they understand what the scenario is for that team, whether it be from the general manager, whether it be from the coaches, they don't have a clue. All they can do is surmise. And so my thing is if you don't know the real deal, you're on the outside looking in. Until you open up that book, you'll never know what's really going on.
That's right.
So I didn't let it really bother me, because they really don't know.
Yes.
They really don't know my child. They don't know the conversations between him and the coaches. They don't know the dynamics. You only see what you see or are allowed to see to a certain extent. And it all depends also on your child. So by me knowing who my child is, by me knowing the inner workings of what's going on, I really didn't have a real problem with the critics, because I understand they're trying to sell papers, and that opportunity, people will talk to you at the game, and I will say, well, you really don't know the real story. If you really knew the real story, your opinion will definitely change. But, I always say, don't always believe what you read.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but that's so true.
There's, so for me, it's difficult it was difficult to hear and see. But on the other side, when I know what's really going on, that's how I handled it.
Okay.
You really don't know the real story. So
that's right. That's right. So you can't take it personal, because at the end of the day, like you said, nobody really knows what these players go through. And with that said, he was traded quickly from Atlanta to now the Timberwolves, but apparently he's waiting for a buyout. So I'm assuming that all came to a halt with the COVID-19. Can you just tell us about that real quick?
Well, I don't know much about every journey that you go through. There's always another avenue that you're getting
Hmm.
exposed to. So that buyout is probably going to happen. He's not going to play, I don't think, for the Timberwolves.
Right.
And at this point, he is working diligently on his craft and is excited to see what his opportunities will be in the next season. And hopefully,
Right.
he will be picked up and have another opportunity to play for another team
Hmm.
and live his dream again.
Absolutely. And that will happen, right? Like you said, there's a lot of politics, so let's just all we can do is give him as much love and support. Um,
Absolutely. And encourage him. Evan is he has been a very determined individual. He has overcome some things that I probably myself would find difficult to do. But I think once he sets his mind on something, which is demonstrated through his life, he is successful. So, and I pray that that dream comes true for him, and he finishes that career out with what his expectations are.
okay. I just want to quickly ask, now that your children are grown, have you had an opportunity to do what Iris wants to do?
Well, I am attempting to do that. It's very difficult when you become a grandmother. It's difficult when you have children, three children, boys in three different states, and when you are as involved as you are. So I think you have to take time for yourself. And at this stage and juncture in my life, I am enjoying my grandchildren. But
Mhm.
I've always been a caregiver. I've always been a supporter, always been a good listener. But now I have to listen to me. And so I am in the process of working towards some things that I want to do. First of all, my health with these little grandkids, I need to get moving. So I have actually started a group of moms, and our motto is keep moving and be healthy.
Yes.
So we do a 30-minute workout every day, twice a day,
Mhm.
um, to get us moving at our level. And it's something that most of us haven't been doing. And one, with this COVID going on, we need to build up our immune system. We need to get stronger. And so that is working out very well. We have over 20 moms who are actually trying to work with us on any given day, which is excellent. And they're having a great time doing it. We're having fun. Aside from that, I have in the process of starting a company called WOW, which is Women Orchestrating Wealth. And that just doesn't mean for monetary value. That could be for your health. That could be for your mind. And it's just a company that I'm trying to create to help us recognize who we are and where our strengths are and where our weaknesses are and how we overcome that to be who we want to be
Right.
in the next journey of our lives. So I am working with that as well as some other little things. So these little grandkids are stepping on my toes, but I'm trying to, at this point in my life, get my life focused on me and stop saying, okay, Iris, you got to help so and so. So trying to balance that ball has been a little bit more difficult. I'm older now, so I'm getting ready to be 62. And so just, honing in on those so that I can be who I want to be and to be the best person I can be and leave that legacy. I've already left a legacy of grandchildren and children, but
Right.
um, you want to leave another type of legacy, not just for your children, but for the world, So
Of
I
course.
hope
Of
to
course.
get that off the ground and be able to leave that for not just NBA moms, but just women in general,
Right.
the best people they can be.
Well, good luck with your company. Wow. I'm very interested to learn more about that. You can share that with me, I guess, offline. And that's something that we at Courtside Moms, we would also share as well. I mean, that is very, very interesting. Like you're saying at one point, when you empty nest, it's time for us as moms to do what we need to do for us. So congratulations. With that
Thank you.
said, you are a veteran mom, and you and have been through this for many years. You know the expectations from coaches, players, fans, and so much more. So I would just like to conclude with asking, what advice would you give to a parent of an up and coming basketball player?
There's a lot of things that I can say at this point, but I think the best thing that I can say to an up and coming parent is I think you need to manage your expectations. I think you need to manage your expectations and understand your athlete's expectations. I think we get lost in that when we first come into this arena. And I think once you recognize what those expectations or clarify them, you'll have a better understanding of this industry as well as how you relate to your athlete. It is so important that you guys remain on the same page because the saying is, perception is reality. And our young men, once they get into our arena, don't understand all the nuances of this. And so that's how people get into your family if you don't understand that. And so I would want you to guard yourself from those trip falls and understand those expectations. So if you stay close to your child, understand his expectations, and he understands yours, and you can come to a clarity about how you guys are going to move forward and how you're going to handle things coming through.
Right.
So I think that's key to understanding that. That's a big part of it.
Absolutely. Iris, oh my goodness, thank you so much. We wish both you and Evan nothing but the very best. And
Thank you.
remember that mothers such as yourself offer so much to those who are in need of information. You serve as a resource to help other parents out there who are blindly trying to get their kids to the pros, which we know is not easy. It's not an easy task at all. So once again, thank you so much for coming up, Courtside Moms, and sharing your story.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm truly honored.
Well, the honor is all ours.
Baby, I'm every woman. It's all in me.